Hi, guys. So this is a very exciting day for you. This is the very last new topic in 7th grade math. So after this lesson, you've officially learned everything you need to for 7th grade math. So exciting. So congratulations on making it to this point. Okay, so our last lesson is volume of cylinders. Okay, so in the last lesson we talked about how to find the volume of prisms. So cubes, rectangular prisms, triangular prisms. So our last three-dimensional shape to find the volume of is a cylinder. And I put this in its own day just because it's so different from the others. So it says at the top here, to find the volume of prisms, we found the area of the base and multiplied it by the height. To find the volume of a cylinder, you follow the same process. The difference is that your base here is a circle. And so if you remember back to when we did area of circles, the formula was pi r squared. Okay, so that's the first part of your volume formula. Pi r squared is the area of the circle. And then I need to multiply that by the height. So I'm just going to say times h. And that's it. So the volume formula for a cylinder is much shorter than the surface area formula for a cylinder. Okay, I'm actually going to put here, this is the height. Okay, so just like in previous lessons that we've done with circles and cylinders, we have to pay attention to what we're using for pi. Okay, so a quick reminder, if it says to use 3.14, use 3.14. If it says to round, that means you're using your pi key. And if it says to leave it in terms of pi, that means you're just leaving pi alone and putting it at the end of your answer. Okay, so we'll see all three of those directions as we go through the examples today. All right, so number 1, find the volume of the cylinder and use pi equals 3.14. All right, so here we go. Let's start with our formula. Pi r squared, area of the circle, times the height. And we're being told to use 3.14 for pi, so I'm going to start my substitution step by putting in 3.14 for pi. The radius of my cylinder is 5 centimeters, so I'm going to have 5 squared, because it's radius squared. And times the height of my cylinder is 8 centimeters. Okay, so when we're typing this in our calculator, make sure we're typing in 3.14 times 5 squared, or you could do 5 times 5, times 8. And if you've typed that in correctly, you should be getting 628, and this is going to be cubic centimeters. Okay, number 2. Find the volume of the cylinder to the nearest thousandth. All right, so right away I'm seeing I need to round. That means we're using our pi key. Okay? All right, so let's start with our formula. Pi r squared h. And here we go. So the area of that circle that we see, remember we're using the pi key, so we're going to leave it pi, times the radius of my circle is 14, so times 14 squared. And the height, this case, the cylinder is on its side, so the height is 21. Okay, so if we type that in our calculator, we're going to do pi key times 14 squared, or 14 times 14, times 21. And we are rounding to the nearest thousandth. So we're going out 3 decimal places here, which means you need to look to the 4th decimal place to know how to round this. Okay, so let's see here. I am getting 12,930, and it's going to be 795, and this is meters cubed. Okay. Number 3, find the volume of the cylinder in terms of pi. Okay, so in terms of pi, remember that's the one where we don't type pi in our calculator at all, we just leave it alone and we put it at the end of our answer. Okay, so start with your formula, pi r squared h. So I leave pi alone. For the radius, if I look at the cylinder I'm given here, they're showing me 20 is the diameter. So the radius, would have to be 10. So I'm going to do times 10 squared because the radius is half of the diameter. And then again, the cylinder is on its side, but the height would have been 40 if it were turned up the right way. Okay, so remember, it's in terms of pi, which means the only thing I'm typing in my calculator is this 10 squared times 40. So 10 times 10 times 40 gives me 4,000. And then I put the pi on the end because it's in terms of pi, and I label it centimeters cubed. Okay, so those are the 3 examples that show you the 3 different ways to use pi. Okay, so hopefully that is clear. Okay, number 4. A cylinder has a height of 9 feet and a radius of 4.3 feet. Find the volume of the cylinder and use pi equals 3.14. Okay, so if you want to draw a picture for this one, you can. I don't think it's necessary because they very clearly say here's the height, here's the radius, and we're using 3.14 for pi. So I think for this one you might be okay with just going right to your substitution step. Okay, so 3.14 is going in for pi. My radius, they say, is 4.3, so I'm going to do 4.3 squared. And my height is 9. Okay, so let's type that in. Remember, we're not rounding at all, so we're going to write out the full decimal that we get. 3.14 times 4.3 times 4.3 times 9. 522.5274 feet cubed. There we go. All right, number 5. Find the volume of a cylinder whose diameter is 6 centimeters and whose height is 9.2 centimeters. Use pi equals 3.14. Okay, so a couple of things. They give us the diameter is 6 centimeters, but I know that in my formula I need the radius. So remember, the radius is half of the diameter. So I'm just going to write right up here the radius would be 3 centimeters. They give us the height, which is something else I need, and they tell me what to use for pi. So let's go ahead and let's write our formula out first, pi r squared h. And then let's go ahead and substitute in our values. So 3.14 for pi. We said the radius was 3, so 3 squared. And the height is 9.2. Okay, again, no rounding because we're being told just to use 3.14. So if we type all of that in, we're going to get 259.992 centimeters cubed. Okay, awesome. Number 6, suppose you are designing a glass that has a radius of 3.5 centimeters and a height of 15 centimeters. If 1 cubic centimeter can contain 1 milliliter of liquid, how many milliliters of liquid will it hold? Okay, so we are basically going to be converting our answer at the end, but we're going to start by doing the same exact thing. We still need to find the volume. And so let's see, what information are we given? We're given the radius, which is something that we need. We're given the height, and we're told to use 3.14 for pi. Okay, so here we go. Volume equals pi r squared h. I'm going to substitute 3.14 for pi. My radius is 3.5, so 3.5 squared, and my height is 15. All right, so let's figure out how many cubic millimeters, how many cubic centimeters this glass can hold. Let's start with that. So we're going to multiply all this out, and I am getting 576.975 cubic centimeters. All right, so it says, if 1 cubic centimeter can contain 1 milliliter of liquid, how many milliliters of liquid will it hold? Okay, so this really is not a horrible conversion because it's 1 to 1. So if it's that many cubic centimeters, it's the same milliliters. So I would just rewrite this with a new label, and there we go. All right, number 7. Lily makes candles and sells them at arts and crafts festivals. She is planning to make the 2 candles with the dimensions shown below. The candle wax comes in 72 cubic inch blocks. How many blocks will she need to make these 2 candles? Use pi equals 3.14. Okay, so in order to figure out how many blocks she's going to need, we first have to figure out what the volume of each of those candles are. Okay, so I'm just going to call this one candle A and this one candle B. So let's go ahead and let's find the volume of candle A to start. Okay, so they tell me to use 3.14 for pi, so I'm going to plug that in. The radius of candle A, so if you look at the picture, they're giving us the diameter because I can see it goes all the way across. So that means that the radius would be 2. So I'm going to put in 2 squared. And the height of that candle is 8. Okay, so if I type all that in, looks like I'm going to get 100.48 cubic inches. Okay, so that is the volume of candle A. Now let's find the volume of candle B. So pi r squared h. Okay, so 3.14 for pi. If you look at the picture, they're giving us the diameter is 6, which means the radius is 3. So when I plug in my radius, I'm going to do 3 squared. And the height of that candle is 5. All right, so if I type out this in, 3.14 times 3 squared times 5, I'm getting 141.3 cubic inches. Okay, so we found the volume of each candle. Now I need to figure out what the total volume is because that will tell me how many cubic inches of wax I need. So I'm going to add the 2 volumes together. And that is going to give me 241.781. Okay, so that's how many cubic inches of wax I need. Now, if I go back to the problem, it says candle wax comes in 72 cubic inch blocks. So obviously 1 block is not going to be enough. Even 2 blocks, right? That would be 144 cubic inches, and I still need more than that. So let's figure this out by dividing. Let's take our total volume, and let's divide it by how much I get in each block. Okay, so I get 72 cubic inches in each block. And if I divide it, it will tell me how many blocks I need. So the total volume divided by 72 gives me about 3.3, right? So can I buy 3.3 blocks of wax? Probably not. So I need to round it. Now I wouldn't round it to 3 because I wouldn't have enough. There'd be left over there. So I'm going to want to buy 4, and then I'm going to have a little left over, but that's better than being short. So 4 blocks. All right, last one. Combos are a cheese-filled pretzel snack in the shape of a cylinder. They have a radius of 1.4 centimeters and a height of 2.2 centimeters. The cheese center has a radius of 0.6 of a centimeter and a height of 2.2 centimeters. In cubic centimeters, How much cheese is in each combo? Okay, you guys are never going to look at a combo the same way. All right, so here we go. Cylinder, pi r squared h, right? We are being told to use 3.14 for pi, so let's start with that, 3.14. Okay, now we're looking for just the cheese. It says how much cheese is in each combo. So I don't care about the dimensions of the whole combo, I just care about the cheese. So right here it says the cheese center has a radius of 0.6 of a centimeter and a height of 2.2 centimeters. So I'm ignoring the other information that's given to me. It's not needed because I'm not finding the volume of the entire combo. Okay, so the radius of the cheese is 0.6, and I have to square that. And the height of the cheese is 2.2. All right, so we're going to type all of this in, and it's going to tell us how much cheese is in each combo. So I am getting 2.48688, I'm not rounding because it told me to use 3.14, cubic centimeters of cheese. Fascinating. So now you know what you're eating when you eat a combo. All right, guys, congratulations. You've officially finished 7th grade math.